Impact. 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 Stand by. Engage. All right, Beaver up. Oh, really? Struck. I'm one. Impact. That's loud in here.
Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Matt here. Today is May 28th, 2022, and we are here at the Northern Rimfire Series match. This is the Insite Arms Steel Challenge match here in Mount Bridges, Ontario. The weather today looks to be really nice. It's going to be just around 20 degrees Celsius when it warms up, and no chance of rain, I don't think. We're definitely going to be dealing with some wind. We can already feel it here, kind of a strong headwind, which should be interesting. I took a look at the course of fire last night quickly, and it looks like there's going to be quite a few fun stages. We also have the mover back out and running. This is the first match of the season that the Northern Rimfire Series has their mover back up and running after it died last year, and that's always going to be a lot of fun to shoot at. I can see that there's a Beaver silhouette target on the mover today. I'm not sure the exact distance we'll be shooting the mover, but it should be fun regardless. Registration for the match seems to be about 60 shooters, I believe, so it's a pretty good turnout.
Thanks everybody for showing up today. Obviously interesting match just because the crops grew well over, I guess, double from last week. So that kind of changed some things up a little bit. What we had to do is we actually raised some of the props up onto some different platforms so you can see over the crops. Should be okay. Hopefully they don't grow too much today as we're shooting. We also want to thank the sponsors that are putting on this match. Obviously Trigger Tech for being the season sponsor, and Insite Arms for sponsoring the match and doing the awards, which I have bad news about. The awards were lost by Canada Post that were supposed to show up numerous days ago. So whoever wins today will get a handshake and they'll get the award either at the next match if they show up in a couple weeks, or I'll have to mail them out to you, one of the two. But they're on their way. You can thank Canada Post because they delivered one of the two boxes that came. So I don't know how they do that. We do have a loaner rifle, so it's actually being put into use. Someone's firing pin went out today. So it's the ACC with the SkyPod, Voodoo 360, and then of course we have the Razor Gen 3. So this is sitting as a match saver rifle. So it did say somebody matched today because they're firing, as I said, their firing pin broke, so it will be available at the other matches as well. It is actually booked for the Kestrel Clinic and the next match. So make sure your firing pin doesn't break in a couple weeks.
Alright, so my squad was lucky enough to start on the stage with the mover target, of course, which was stage 2, titled Beaver Hunt. There were two targets for the stage, a static Beaver at 160 yards, and the Beaver on the mover, which was at 195 yards. This was a 12-round stage with 3 positions along a tree, and in total, 8 rounds were shot at the mover target and 4 rounds were shot at the static target in varying sequences from the 3 positions.
Impact! Impact!
Engage.
I know that feeling, man.
2.2, not 1.2.
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
I think that was a hit match. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here you go. Okay, cool. That was behind. What? The good thing is, everything I actually like doing in this part.
I think I was holding over too much.
Impact! Impact! Yep. Impact! 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 Impact!
I believe this is the farthest the mover has ever been placed at a Northern Rimfire Series match to date, and the lead for it for our squad was anywhere between 1 and 2 mils, depending on obviously the velocity of your rounds and what the wind was doing at the time. So I managed to get 8 of 12. I believe all my misses were on the mover, so that's 4 misses on the mover, which isn't great. So calculating the lead for the mover, you can use your ballistics app, but you need to know how fast the mover is actually moving back and forth. So we tried to estimate it best as possible using a spotting scope with a mil reticle in it, and I think we said it was moving about 3 mrad per second. So based on that and the velocity of your rounds, you would hold anywhere between 1 and 2 mils lead from center of target. The Beaver silhouette itself at the widest point is just over 1 mil in width, so you have quite a bit of space to work with. But if the wind picks up, you have to add or subtract your wind hold to the lead, which can get a little bit confusing on the clock. What else? Hey, have you shot it yet? How'd you do?
10.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you hit all the movers?
I dropped 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So Colin obviously knows what was your hold for it?
1.5.
1.5 mils, so that's the hold I gave him, so he owes me a few points.
It's all him.
Yeah.
Every time.
Stage 3 was titled Gotta Be Fast. This was a 12-round stage with 12 positions on a tank trap. There was a single target, which was an 8-inch diamond at 145 yards. Shooters would have to take 1 shot from each of the tank trap tips, and then from the saddle of the tank trap, repeating the sequence 3 times for a total of 12 rounds.
Impact! Impact! 20 seconds. Impact! Impact!
Have you for 8, you had 10 seconds left. Oh, good. Unload, show clear. Okay, 2, 1, engage.
Impact! 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 Impact!
Because your ranges are...
Fucking grass.
30 seconds.
Impact! Impact! Time? Impact! Impact!
That's the only reason why I'm running miles per hour.
Got you for 11. Missed 1.
Yep. And that was the grass's fault. I saw grass fly up.
Stage 4 was the timed tiebreaker stage for the match and was titled Holds Only. Shooters were not allowed to adjust their scope in any way after taking the first shot of this stage. There was a total of 9 rounds and 3 targets for the stage. A 6-inch diamond at 145 yards, an 8-inch diamond at 175 yards, and a 12-inch circle at 210 yards. Shooters would engage the targets near to far, alternating between the left, middle, and back to the left pipe.
Bad. Impact.
Spotter ready?
Ready?
Shooter ready.
Yep.
Stand by.
Dead center, or what were you doing?
I was, between spin drift, if like it was like 0.2 left, a little bit more.
Impact.
So if it's like 0.3 right, 0.1.
Impact. 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 Impact.
Yeah, so far that is 7 missing because
Impact.
here's what I should have. What's 7.9 minus 4.3?
Well, you can only use it from here. Impact. I never practice.
Yeah.
I never do anything new with something. Impact.
3.6.
Nice.
Yeah.
78.76, and I got you for 8.
That was good.
If I'm missing, it's not good.
I got 8. Yep.
This is actually the timed tiebreaker stage, but since I dropped so many points in the first 2 stages, I decided to take it real slow. I used the tripod as well just to make sure everything is working fine. I dropped the first shot because of the wind, and then when I corrected that, I managed to get the next 8 hits, so I got 8 of 9 for the stage. Another caveat of the time stage today is that after taking your first shot, you can't adjust your scope at all, so you have to use your holdovers and obviously pick a magnification and parallax setting that will work for all 3 targets. So that's always interesting. I do like stages like that. Luckily, my holdovers for the 2 targets after the first one was basically 1.5 and 3.5 mil, so that's really easy to bracket in the reticle. Kind of feeling a little jittery again today for some reason, similar to what happened last week at East Elgin. Just hard to settle down in position, even though I've built the position properly, and fundamentally I think my body position is correct. For some reason it's hard for me to hold still, so I don't know what's going on. Obviously the tripod helps with that, so maybe I'll implement the tripod a little more today and just try and take it slow. The wind is definitely tricky. We do have some, I guess, tall grass to kind of work with for the wind calls, but it's actually hard to tell because even when they're blowing one direction, they kind of sway back and forth. So it's hard to see exactly the direction of the wind, especially when it's a headwind like this. So I'm trying to look at mirage, which currently I can see, and I saw on this stage it was left to right. And on this previous stage, on the first stage, we were holding right to left. So a little bit of a change of direction here. We have to figure it out. Hopefully the rest of the day goes a little bit smoother. So that's 9 points dropped in the first 3 stages.
Impact.
Stage 5 was titled Chicken Crap. The reason for this stage title is because this was right beside a giant pile of literal chicken crap. There were 2 targets for this stage, a diamond at 136 yards and a circle at 164 yards. The barricade for the stage was a very interesting pipe supported by a beam of wood, which allowed the pipe to rock back and forth while the shooter rested their rifle on top of it. In total, this was a 12-round stage with 3 positions, and the target sequence did vary from position to position along the pipe.
Impact.
Impact. Impact. Impact.
That's a variable.
Empty off target, idiot.
Impact.
Stand by.
Hitting the left.
Engage.
From right to left.
In the gust condition it is, in the static condition it's over there. When a gust comes this way,
Impact.
kind of that way.
Impact. 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 Impact.
Can I have a time update, please? You have 30 seconds left.
Impact. 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 Impact.
We can do it with 15 seconds left.
I did use the tripod and I managed to clean the stage, but I was a little bit hesitant to try the tripod because I wasn't sure if the front of the rifle resting on that tube would move, but it turned out to be a pretty solid position. It was just 2 targets from 3 positions, and the second target was quite small. And given the fact that I feel jittery again today, I don't think I would have made as many hits on that far target if I wasn't using the tripod. So this thing's kind of saving my saving grace at the moment.
Stage 6 was titled Elevated. There were 3 spools on top of a platform. The spools were arranged in varying ways. This was a 10-round stage with 3 targets, a unipig silhouette at 105 yards, a 6-inch circle at 144 yards, and an 8-inch diamond at 180 yards. Shooters would start on the leftmost spool and engage the targets near to far with 1 round each. Shooters would then transition to the middle spool and engage the targets far to near with 1 round each. And finally, shooters would transition to the right spool and engage the targets again near to far with an extra shot fired at the far target, giving a total round count for the stage of 10.
You were holding on the left side. Yeah, I was holding. I had to hold off late hit the pig, which makes me think that my zero is probably what those 2 plates left off.
Impact.
Impact. Impact.
Unload, show clear. Shooter ready.
Shooter ready.
Stand by. Engage.
Impact. 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 Impact.
45 seconds left.
Impact. Impact.
I think you need. I don't think those 6 targets because it was.
Impact. Impact.
Clean on. 20 seconds left.
Sounds good. I'm still using the tripod. You know, as long as there's no tripod restrictions, it looks like it's going to be a tripod day, just because not feeling the best. Didn't sleep great last night, but I didn't sleep bad either. I don't know what's happening. But anyway, happy for another clean. The time was slightly crunched because there's 3 target distances and I was dialing for all of them while also using the tripod. So I had to make sure that I was engaging on the right targets. You'll see in the camera footage that in the second position, I was looking at the wrong target, and good thing I kind of just did a brain check, and I was like, this is not the right target, so I shifted over and engaged the proper target. So I avoided a mental mistake there, which again is usually my goal for these matches, is to eliminate mental errors.
Stage 7 was down the pipe. There was a large corrugated pipe placed lengthwise pointing towards the targets. There were 3 targets for the stage: a third size IPSC silhouette at 150 yards, a 10-inch circle at 195 yards, and a 2/3 IPSC silhouette at 240 yards. Shooters would engage all 3 targets from inside the pipe as well as on top of the pipe.
Oh, that is loud.
Impact. 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 Impact.
8 hits. Good shooting, man.
Thanks. 3, 2, 1, engage. Impact.
Yeah, I saw you. I didn't put it in. Yeah, I forgot that I saw it stayed 6. Hit the card and all filled out. I got to be that. I packed it all up. I did. My rifle was there. Just guess it. On the barrel. And that was it sucks because it's
Impact. Impact.
Time?
I was shooting well, and then the very last. Impact. Okay, at least now I can pack it up and salt it instead of having to.
What's my time, please?
30 seconds. Back together. And impact.
That was an
impact. Yeah, that was an impact. Here it is. Coming up on 1 second. Impact. Yeah, it was bottom right? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Apparently the wind really picked up as soon as I went into the pipe, but since you're totally encapsulated, I couldn't feel any wind. So I was making some pretty poor wind calls in the first position there. I can't remember my exact score. I think I got 7 of 10, so I dropped 3 shots. Inside the pipe was a little tricky because you had to make sure your bipod was set on the curves properly. And my skypod kind of turned because I unlocked the pivot feature, so I had to kind of fix that in the tube and then start going. But besides that, it was okay. As soon as I could get on top of the tube, I could feel the wind and then died down a little bit, so I just held on plate to make hits.
Stage 8 was barrels. There were 3 barrels for the barricades of the stage, and this was a 10-round stage with 3 targets. A 4-inch circle at 122 yards, a 6-inch circle at 160 yards, and a 10-inch circle at 205 yards. Shooters would engage the 3 targets in varying sequences from all 3 of the different barrels.
Impact.
You got the right card this time. You witnessed it, right? No, you didn't. Impact.
That's for 7. Once you figure the wind out, it'll switch on you. I was holding off the left edge. Had to be off the left. Yeah. Weird. Oh well. 3, 2, 1, engage.
Yeah, it's just like it's so much different.
40 seconds later.
Hey, Pat! Because it's so far, like that's a big hole in the red. What I did. And it's only
You're going all the way out and then...
hey, Pat! Just dial back down and start over again.
Yeah, definitely. Why not?
Especially if the ring keeps switching.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely start with that.
And then pump it up to 12.
Hey, Pat!
Yeah, I contemplated doing that.
Hey, Pat! If I try and mix them, then I'm going to get myself. That's what I know. That's what I am. Hey, Pat! Yeah, but you gotta dial past it anyway. Hey, Pat! Hey, Pat!
Time, please.
You got like 30 seconds.
Hey, Pat! Hey, Pat! Hey, Pat!
Yeah, the wind picked up a bit, so
Yeah, it was like calm when I shot, and then like 30 seconds later.
there's quite a bit of dialing back and forth between the targets. I had to follow up Russ, who cleaned the stage, so there's a lot of pressure on me to also clean the stage. Luckily, I was able to. The wind picked up halfway through my stage, or at the beginning, so I had to start making some wind calls. It's mostly a headwind though, so even though it feels really strong, you're not holding off plate, so it can kind of play some mind games on you. And again, as I mentioned before, the grass actually is not great for wind calls sometimes because it just kind of sways back and forth. It's hard to really see what the exact direction is. It's warmed up really nicely. I think it's around 20 degrees Celsius now. Sun's out, a few clouds here and there to keep some shade on us sometimes. But besides that, it's a beautiful day. Going with. Okay. So. Impact. Impact. Impact.
Stage 9 contained the furthest target for the match, which was placed at 330 yards. In total, there were 5 targets for the stage. The targets were a 6-inch circle at 140 yards, a 10-inch circle at 185 yards, a 12-inch circle at 225 yards, a 2/3 size IPSC silhouette at 290 yards, and a full-size IPSC at 330 yards. This was a 10-round stage and had 2 positions to shoot from on top of the fence posts. Shooters would engage the targets near to far with 1 round each from both of the positions.
Impact. Impact.
Impact.
5 seconds.
Impact.
Impact.
So my
Engage.
0 was actually 10, but what I'm very happy about is I noticed it when I got back. Because I already put in my dope for next.
You would have been another stage.
I would have been a whole fucking stage. Luckily, because of this here.
Hey, Pat.
Otherwise, I wouldn't even fucking looked at that.
Hey, Pat. Hey, Pat. Hey, Pat. Hey, Pat.
Time?
50 seconds.
Hey, Pat. Hey, Pat.
Beautiful place though. Beautiful place. I keep to myself.
Hey, Pat. Hey, Pat.
Time?
15 seconds.
You about it.
Hey, Pat.
Nice run.
Good shot, man.
And at 138.
Good for you.
You still had 7 seconds left. Good run.
Thank you. I'm happy with that. Probably one of the most difficult stages for time management today because we had 5 targets, but you were never shooting the same one consecutively. So you had to either do a different hold or dial your turret between each target. And a lot of guys were timing out. So I came in with a plan. I wanted to use the tripod, but I wanted to be kind of efficient as possible with my time. So I decided to hold the first 3 targets and then only dial for the far ones that were past 250 or something. So it worked out. I managed to get all my shots off and I managed to clean the stage. So I'm really happy with that. Yeah, definitely my best stage of the day in terms of how I felt preparing for it, executing it through the entire stage, and then obviously the result I'm very happy with. So one of the long range stages of the day, I think the far target was at 328, I want to say, and I'm happy I hit it both times.
Stage 10 was from the blind. This was shot from an elevated hunting blind, and there were 2 targets for this stage, a diamond at 140 yards and a small IPSC silhouette at 176 yards. There were a total of 3 positions for this stage and 10 rounds. The shooters would engage the targets in varying sequences from the 3 positions.
Yeah, and that's not counting if you go at least 2 cases.
Lots of time going. 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Impact. Impact.
Oh, I hate that.
Impact.
This is a tricky stage to use.
You're barely at 45 seconds.
Impact. Impact. Impact.
45 seconds. 1 minute, 14 seconds.
But it's really tricky for wind because when you're inside this trailer, you're shooting out of a window and all the wind is getting funneled into this window. So it feels like a lot more wind than what you have to hold because it's a headwind. So you feel like you're in like, you know, 15-mile-per-hour winds when it's like 4, you know? But, you know, you have to kind of look at, I guess, the grass and stuff and see the magnitude of it. 7 of 10, so I dropped 3, but it was pretty tricky. I did use the tripod in there because today's a tripod day, but it was not the greatest idea because the floor was kind of slanted. So instead of just planting the tripod straight down, it was on an angle. I don't know if it'll come out on video, but I was like on an angle, trying to use a leg of support. It was kind of messy, so.
The final stage of the day for my squad was stage 1, wheat. This was a 10-round stage with 2 targets, a small gopher at 125 yards and a 6-inch diamond at 165 yards. The shooter had to engage the targets in varying sequences, transitioning from their strong side and then their weak side, and then back to their strong side in the prone position.
Impact! 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 And then Impact! Impact!
Did you call the second gopher an impact or no?
Got you for 8. Okay. Yes. So, yeah, we'll call them impact. Sorry, I actually didn't see it. I heard something and I didn't see it move, so I thought it might have been the wrong target.
You gotta go down your arm.
Yeah, that's true.
So
There we go.
3, 2, 1, engage.
Oh, fuck it.
Yes, I made a mistake. I couldn't see the second target. I just saw like the tip.
Impact!
Yeah. Definitely use your pump though.
Impact!
I wish I had one to stick on it.
Impact!
Using another bag?
Impact!
I have a little
Impact! 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 Clean. Okay.
Nice. Just over a minute.
Perfect.
All right, I just shot my last stage of the match, so we've shot 10 stages today. Really fun match. Unfortunately, those 2 stages that I dropped 8 points cumulative on those 2 was a really bad way to start the day. I just looked at my my notes here, and after the first 2 stages, cumulatively for the rest of the stages, I didn't drop as much as I did in the first 2 stages. So that was unfortunate. I managed to clean this last stage here, prone, strong side, support side, and then back to strong side. It was actually pretty tricky because we're shooting from prone here, but you can see we're shooting under the foliage line or whatever you want to call it. So the wind is completely not a factor on the stage, even though you can hear it and you can see everything blowing around. You just hold basically dead center. Yeah, today was pretty good. I'm happy that I could mentally recover from those 2 first stages that really bit me. That's always tough, you know, starting the day off a little on the weak side can really affect you, and if you don't brush it off properly, it can really be detrimental to your score, of course. So I did my best to kind of clear my head after those first 2 stages, and it worked all right. Unfortunately, because of those stages, I think I'm probably out of the running for anything. Some really good shooters here today. But again, it was a really nice day. Tricky winds, but beautiful weather. Warmed up nicely, and Adam puts on a great match. Thank you to the host. This is a beautiful property. I hope we can come back for another match here sometime.
Behind the pipe, you really want, but still shoot through them.
Good God.
I wasn't gonna do it.
So I mentioned, unfortunately, we don't have the awards. I'll get the awards at the next match because I think everybody who's getting them is going to be at the next one. But yeah, we want to thank, again, Trigger Tech for being the season sponsor, and for Insite Arms for sponsoring the match and doing the awards, even though Canada Post screwed up. And I got a notification now that it finally hit Scarborough. So I'll probably have them on Monday. So, for top production is Ryan Milieu with 79. Give me a handshake, but I'll get you your award. No, you shoot pretty. Thanks. Next time. Jessica Tischler, one and you. I'll get you the award. So in top 3 with an 89 was Chris Tischler. With a 90 was Matt Huey.
Thanks, man.
Congrats. And then the winner is Grant Sparley with a 97. Yeah, I'll get it to you.
So we just finished up the awards ceremony, and as you saw, surprisingly, I got second, which is, I'm super pumped. I wasn't expecting it. 2 stages I dropped 4 points, and 2 other stages I dropped 3 points. So in my head, I thought, you know, I was kind of out, but I got 90 of 105 total possible points. Top spot went to Grant, as per usual. He got 97, which is pretty insane. And my teammate, Chris, got 3rd, 1 point behind me at 89, I believe. Also, just a quick note, I apologize for any video footage that may be out of focus, because we just realized at the end of the day that the focus wasn't set correctly to the right setting, so hopefully it's okay. We'll take a look at the footage. But yeah, I'm pumped. 2nd place. I'm really happy with that. This is my best placing at an NRS match to date, so pretty awesome. The drive home should be good, and stay tuned for a fun match debrief video with me and Mr. Colin. Dunzo.
Came in 7th.
You came in 7th. Nice,
man.
man. Top 10. Hey, we're gonna make it to Pennsylvania. I'm telling you.
That's my first top 10 finish ever at a
big
match.
Solid.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. See, good stuff happening today. In the wind, just can't let it get to you.
An 82.
Yeah.